Hello. Hello. My voice is audible, everyone. Hello. Hello. My voice is audible. So, hello, dear student. Today we are going to see about 24th June, the Hindu daily newspaper analysis. So, dear student, for last few days, I'm not able to provide this infographics video discussion. So, I'm really sorry for that. So, from now onward, we'll continue. Okay. So, dear student, to get this PDF, you simply scan this QR code to join our application. From there, you'll get this infographics PDF, and you can scan this QR code to join our Telegram group. Okay. So, dear student, let's proceed. So, first, Iran launched missile at USA base in Qatar and Iraq. So recently we know that Israel attacked Iran. But Israel not having the bunker buster bomb. So they cannot destroy the nuclear site that is located deep inside the mountain. So they need USA support. So because of that, USA attack Iran using B2 bomber. B2 bomber. And because of that, Iran believe it is a violation of their sovereign right, because you cannot attack a country just because you think that that country is having nuclear bomb. So in retaliation to that, Iran launched a lot of missiles towards the USA base. If it is Iran, so there are so many bases that is located near surrounding neighbor of Iran. So it can be Qatar, it can be Iraq, Syria. So where Iran launched its missile. So there is a repercussion though. So the war may spread to the entire Gulf region, and in Gulf region around 1 crore Indian people are residing there. So it might create a Gulf crisis also. So we'll see that Iran launch missiles at USA base in Qatar, Iraq. So will never leave. Violation of territorial integrity unanswered, says the Tehran, with targeting largest USA base in West Asia. Qatar temporarily suspend its airspace after USA issue advisory for citizens. So Iran launch missile. Okay? So like in Qatar base in retaliations for US strike in Islamic Republic of nuclear facility on Sunday. So Qatar, but Qatar is able to successfully intercept all the missiles. So if Iran attack all the missiles, so their air defense system able to neutralize all this missile in air. So this is what said by the Qatar. So successfully intercepted the missile and therefore no death or injury. So the attack come in response to the blatant military aggression by the criminal regime of United States. This is what said by the Iran. Okay. So Qatar, which is like 190 kilometer south of the Iran from the Persian Gulf, okay, that house around 10,000 American soldiers. So Iran attacked because this site house around 10,000 US soldiers. So doubling down. So Iranian armed forces said that the attack come in response to the blatant military aggression by criminal regime in USA. So USA attack Iran, that is a clear violation of Iran's sovereignty. So in retaliation to that, so they attacked the American soldiers. So Qatar all with base house 10,000 American soldier also serve as the headquarter of US Central Command. So Iran strike also the air bases in Iraq also. Okay? So new front, so projectiles seen sky over the Doha, Qatar after Iran's armed forces targeting US base. Okay? So, dear student, next important news we'll see about the sharp rise in number of women moist kill in the security operation data. So recently we have seen that this article is a clear example of patriarchy. Even in Maoist, there is a patriarchy is in force. So in Maoist, in you can say you can tribal area, in tribal area. So still it is compulsory for people to provide soldier provide member to the Maoist. But when people believe that son preference is very high, so family generally prefer women to be part of the, you can say, Maoist cadre. So because of that, large number of women they join the Maoist. And inside the Maoist there is a glass ceiling also, like beyond a limit even the women cannot promote it. And in all the frontline operations, so generally the Maoist promoted the women to fight. So these are the reason recent times seen rise in number of Maoist kill in the security operation. So you can say the faced with the threat, many poor Adivasi parents prefer to part with the girl child. This is the reason behind the large number of girls, women being present among the Maoist cadre. This is what said by the Home Ministry sources. So, more than one third of the alleged Maoist cadre killed in 2024 operation by the police and security forces in Chhattisgarh were women. Okay? So, there were sharp increasing percentage of women Maoist cadre killed in the security operations 2024 and 25 with previous year. So, coinciding in rising number of operation amid call by our Home Ministry to make India Maoist free by March 2026. You have to remember that whenever you write anything, you have to give this argument. This is very important for your mains. And you can remember here percentage of women among the Maoist kill in the Chhattisgarh. So you can remember that there is a dip. Now it is rising. Okay. So patriarchal tendency. So this you can write in your essay, society answer. Even the patriarchy is extended to the even Maoist also. So Maoists have formed Bal bastas comprising of young children in the Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. The idea to brainwash and indoctrinate young children to Maoist ideology. So it is very easy to manipulate the mind of young people. So because of that, they establish Bal bastas. Okay? Most of the parents do not want to be part with their children in the Maoist ideology. So they are male or female soldier to the Maoist. So it is a pressure on your neighbor to provide that. In that case, generally family not prefer to provide the male child. They prefer on the woman to be part of that. So this by the Maoist is reason behind the large number of women or girl being among the Maoist cadre. Even the Maoist the ministry added that the women are also pushes to the forefront of engagement. Whenever there is a military operation between the security forces and the in spite of Maoist disapproval of the patriarchy, Maoists don't support the patriarchy. In reality or ground operation, it is clearly visible. The number of women in the top clone of their leadership is negligible. Okay? This is a good point you can use in your answer about patriarchy. Okay? The Maoists wish to keep population in their stronghold cut off from the mainstream and school are attacked because education promote the spirit of inquiry among the local population. So always Maoists believe that development is the priority for the tribal people. The more underdeveloped, more backward, that can act as a fertile ground for the tribal for the Maoists to migrate. However, once indoctrinated, these women cadre were largely used as a foot soldier, human shield by the leadership. Over the time, they were to address this issue, both sensitive and determination. So our priority continue to be promotion of voluntary surrender through human centered sensitive rehabilitation policy. So government always follow two-pronged strategy. One policy we are focusing on the development. First, we need to ensure the development of the tribal area. Second, those who are in that development, we are providing rehabilitation. If you are ready, then we'll rehabilitate. And second, we'll ensure security operation. Those who only listen about violence, we'll teach them in the voice of violence only. So we have to follow two-pronged strategy. First, to ensure the development of the region. Second, we'll carry out the security operation. Okay? So next is bring back women deported to Pakistan. This is what said by the High Court to Home Secretary. Recently, during you can say the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh ordered the Union Home Secretary to repatriate 63-year-old woman to India after she was deported to Pakistan during crackdown against the Pakistani national wake of the Pahalgam terrorist attack. So this is actually violation of human right. You cannot deport someone if that person is having long term visa. Okay? So she was here on a long term visa. Okay? So this court is bearing. So that means human right are most sacrosanct component of human life, and therefore are occasion when a constitutional court is supposed to come off SOs like ठीक है तो like देखो human right is very essential. No doubt we need to detect the illegal migrant, we need to deport them, but at the same time we cannot violate the right of the human being. So time and again, now whenever there is a doubt between human right versus doubt, so we need to give preference to the human right. So this is what you can talk about ethics answer. So how human right is very essential. Okay. So next is the CM final call on three language formula. policy in the school, Maharashtra school, all stakeholders. So, National Education Policy, NEP 2020 talk about promotion of three language formula. Three language formula, one is about the mother tongue, another is English, another about learning any other Indian language. So that will help in bridging the inequality, help in promoting togetherness. Okay, so it will also help in development of you can say promotion of the Indian culture also. There is a promotion of the northern Indian people. They learn about Tamil. So in South India, they learn about Hindi. So that will lead to the there is a synthesis and tolerance among the people. Okay. So next, the Bij Utshav held across three states stress the role of indigenous seed in agricultural sustainability. देखो, why indigenous seed? Indigenous seed are very essential because these seeds have been developed in our region. So over a thousands of year of adoption, they are able to have their resistance to fight against the pest in the climate intolerance. So all these things they are ability to do that. But because of we are using hybrid seed like high yield variety seed HYB, so these are newly seeds, so they are not having resistance to all this problem. So in case of any pest attack, so there might be severe damage to all these things. So we need to conserve our indigenous seeds, so they are more sustainable because they are indigenous to it. So they require very less water, they are less water intensive. So 4 day Bij Utsav seed festival held in the tribal belt of Tri Junction, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat this month highlight the role of indigenous seed in agricultural sustainability. Farmer from the tribal group pledged to build a community-led seed system. Okay? This is more than important. Just you need to read that, or if you need, you can just read more than that. Seed should not be just considered as a foundation of farming, but treated as a symbol of identity. Yes, it is a symbol of identity, life, nutrition, culture, and climate resilience in tribal tradition. Okay? So when nearly 70% of the small farmer depends on the market driven hybrid seed, Bij Utsav is powerful reminder to reclaim our seed sovereignty. Now what happened, MNCs, multinational companies, they are selling high yield variety of seeds. So that means farmer are depending on them. So they lose their sovereignty now. So that means it is the MNC, it is the private sector, they are going to dictate the price. So that is the reason government is promoting indigenous seeds, so because it is environmental sustainably and it is non-exploitative also. So return to the roots, seed in the market often come with a chemical inputs and health risk, high cost. So tribal farmer need to return to their roots and join community-led and culturally grounded action. Whenever you are talking about sustainable agriculture, whenever you are talking about organic farming, so you can talk about promoting indigenous seeds. So this is the point. This is the example for your mains answer writing. Let's take the example of the green revolution. In green revolution, we are using high yield variety of seeds that were imported from somewhere else. They are not developed in the local conditions, so they are very prone to the pest attacks. So and they are water intensive. So that is led to the all this ecological problem in the, you can say, in the Uttar Pradesh and Punjab region. So next we'll go to the last page. So here it is given the alternating pressure mattresses aim to reduce the bed source. Yes, there is actually what happens whenever you are sleeping in a particular constant sleeping position. If a particular pressure point is having high pressure, that means there is a blockage of the flow of blood. When there is a prolonged blockage of the blood, that lead to the damage and death of the tissue. So that can be caused permanent damage. So now there is developing a mattresses where pressure will be very automatically, so that no permanent damage to this any particular tissue. So that is going to help better health. So this is the article all thing about that. So the yeast, so physics can give rise to the multicellular life and mutation. So not much important, just read this much thing. So multicellular organism grow larger than those with only one cell, as long as they can deal with the effect of largeness, namely need to ensure all cell receive nutrient needed to grow. Animal and plant have structure to transport the nutrient. Blood and blood vessel do the job in humans. Okay, not much important because this is a basic thing. So but if you just need to about know this, whatever I have highlighted, this is more than enough, and it is only important for your prelims, not much. Okay, so next, USA to screen social media account for non-immigrant visa application. Now if you want to study in USA, then you have to open your social media account, like you have to set your privacy so that it can be accessed by the USA agencies before you can say go to before go to the USA for study purpose. So how this is going to impact India, because most of our you can say STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics students, they are having an American dream to study in USA, but now USA is conducting very strict screening process, so that those who are against the American ideology, those who are threat to the American, so they are not going to allow them. So that is going to impact our student, those who are studying in the USA. Okay. Okay. So next we'll see the Israel strike the Iran guard site. Okay, and even prison Tehran and further facility. So Israel attacked the regime targets with unprecedented force, adhering to the speculation that it might seek to topple the Iran clerical leaders and Putin after meeting with the foreign minister of Iran. So strike by the USA, Israel on Iran, but not offer concrete support. So what happened? I'm just telling you the detail of that. So in Iran, there is a prison where any opposition, they are prison there, and they are being tortured for anti-regime. So recently Israel conduct the strike on that prison. So generally these prisons house the people who are against this current government, and they try to release this those who are prison, so that they will promote the anti government sentiment, so there might change in the government. If government will change, then it is quite easy for the Iran and USA, because they might not follow the nuclear policy the current regime is following. So no, ultimately they will end the threat that Israel and USA currently perceived to be. So Israel hit the revolutionary guard sites and notorious even prisoner the Tehran Monday, calling the most powerful strike yet on the Iranian capital on 11th day of the war. Okay, regime targets with the unprecedented force, adding to the speculations that Iran may seek to topple the Iran's clerical leadership. Okay, clerical leadership. So Iranian media and Israel media, so they also stock the further. It's actually nuclear installations. Okay, so they do the centrifuge. Okay, so you have to study about locations that currently strike Natanz further. Okay, so you have to remember and map all these sites, so there can be a question on the prelims regarding that. So next is Iranian parliament takes off the bills to end ties with IAEA. So recently Iran parliament passed a bill that they don't cooperate with International Atomic Energy Agency regarding nuclear disarmament, all this issue. Okay. So next is talking about bank must raise more deposit to improve the loan to deposit ratio. Loan to deposit ratio means whatever amount of loan you are giving to deposit that bank is also having. So this ratio is called loan to deposit ratio. We need to increase more. That means okay. So this ratio need to be improved. This is what mentioned. So next, the Hormuz block may benefit India refiner. So it is talking about Gulf of Hormuz. So it is your homework, map the location and why Gulf of Hormuz is important for India as well as international market. So how the conflict between Israel and Iran is going to impact Gulf of Hormuz. You have to study all these things. Okay? So any disruptions to the shipping of jet fuel and diesel to the Europe via Strait of Hormuz offer a window of opportunity to India refiner, particularly aviation turbine fuel. So if there is a blockade, so that means our refinery can supply this oil to the Europe and other country, so we can benefit. So for instances, disrupting these routes effectively affect the supply of jet fuel to the European markets is likely to offer better prices to the Indian refiner. Okay. But this is at short term, but in long term, it is going to impact India also, as the price increase gradually. So crude oil price will increase, so that is going to impact India also. So next is Adani Commission, India's first upgrade green hydrogen plants. Adani Commission upgrade green hydrogen plants. So commissioning India's first upgrade 5 megawatt hydrogen plant. Kaha? Kutch, Gujarat. A off-grid green hydrogen power plant is a facility that produces hydrogen using electrolysis power by renewable energy sources, solar or wind. Okay, so what do you mean by off-grid? Off-grid means any electricity that is not connected to the grid. So national grid, it is not connected to grid. It is locally connected. Locally, it is it will use locally solar and locally wind to produce the hydrogen. It will use the local resources to produce the hydrogen. It will not depend on the grid power. That is what called off grid. Okay. So no headway in India Asia trade deal review despite 9 meeting in last 1 year. So you know that ASEAN country. So it is your homework study about the country of ASEAN. So you have to study about detail about ASEAN. So when ASEAN country is formed, what is the headquarter of ASEAN? Then you know what is the relationship with ASEAN. So before that we called it as a look east policy. Now it is called act east policy. So what are the mechanism between act east and look east, act east, India and East Asian summit. So why ASEAN countries are very important for India. Okay, I have to study all these things. So over the last 1 year, the officials of the government India have held 9 meetings with officials from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to review the trade agreement signed with the grouping, but no progress have been made any item. Okay? So recently we have signed a free trade agreement with ASEAN, but after signing this free trade agreement, we have seen that our import increased 3 times. Like we are importing more from the ASEAN, but our export is just increased by 2 times. That means this free trade is not benefiting us as much as it is benefiting to the ASEAN country. So that is what concerns. So ASEAN India trade in good agreement, so they are not able to discuss. So under the original agreement signed in 2009, India opened 71% of the tariff line to the ASEAN country, whereas country like Indonesia opened only 41, Vietnam 66, and Thailand 67. So triple import triple last 15 year, our export to the ASEAN have been doubled. Okay, our import have tripled. So that means it is the ASEAN country, they are benefiting because they violating all the norms of the free trade agreement. How? देखो, there is a free trade agreement FTA ASEAN के साथ. What China is doing? China import their item here and just to do the packaging and then sell to India. So because of this free trade agreement, so China is violating the rules of origin and dumping all their product in India. So ultimately hurting the sentiment of India. So that is what our concern. So these factors necessitated a review of the deal, but we are stonewalling. So India has foundations through the investigating that there are countries in Asia grouping that were receiving highly subsidized raw material from the China and processing them and then exporting them to the India. So this is what our concern is. Okay. So next is a dairy agricultural impede India USA bilateral trade deal. So we know that after Donald Trump coming into power, Donald Trump imposed tariff to with all the country to force every country to sign a trade deal with the USA. So 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 what happened? So for what happened? So to ensure there should not be any full tariff that is going to impose on the Indian good. So government started a negotiation, and it is our sign a mini trade deal. The deal that is going to cover area where there is a consensus. So we are planning to sign that deal by 9th July. But this by signing that, so USA demand that we need to open our dairy and agricultural sector for the USA. But remember one thing: in India, our farmers are small and marginal. Our farmer are small and marginal. You can say 86% of our farmer are small and marginal. So they don't have surplus and rich. If you are allowing USA to export their product, agricultural and dairy at low cost, so that means this small farmer they lose their market now. Lose the market, so that means there is going to increase the farmer distress, farmer suicide. So agricultural sector is India in very sensitive. So before opening all these things, we need to be very cautious, because this article is talking about that only. So next is the deadline for exercising option under the unified pension scheme. So what is unified pension scheme? So actually, I'm just explaining you everything. So first, initially before 2004, there was a scheme that is called old. Under the old pension scheme, government will provide 50% of last drawn salary as pension. employee have no need to pay any contribution to the government. But in 2004, government introduced that both government will contribute it. I think government will contribute. It is given here. I'll just see. The government will contribute something and employee will contribute something, and that money will go and invest in a particular corpus fund. On the basis of the return from this fund, then pension will be provided to its employee. But these are subjected to the market fluctuation. So there is a threat or apprehension that people might not get the pension they are expecting. So that is the reason there is a demand for reverted back to the old pension scheme. So government recently, to avoid all this old pension scheme, all the burden of pension is on the government. So that might increase the fiscal deficit. So government find a hybrid between the NPS, government find a hybrid between NPS plus OPS. उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? UPS, Unified Pension Scheme. Here here the employee get 40% of last run salary and they have to contribute 3%. I'm just reading it out. So Finance Ministry on Monday extended the cutoff pension scheme by 3 months till September 30. Earlier, the eligible government employee, retired and spouse of the deceased retired given the scheme. Okay? UPS is applicable to the central government employee who are covered under the new national pension scheme, who choose this option under the NPS, which come into effect 1st of January 2004. The options to choose between UPS and NPS can be exercised 23 lakh government employee. Okay, so under the old pension scheme, which employee get 40% of the last run salary. So old pension scheme mein, whatever may be the salary, let's say your last salary was 50,000 rupees. So 50,000 rupees. So that means you'll get pension of 20,000 rupees per month. Okay, so 50% of that. And unlike the OPS, the UPS contribution in nature, wherein employee will require to contribute, like employee contribute 10% of their basic and dearness allowance So next is this is not much important. So you can see, those who are accused, they. So Supreme Court 3-year bar experience rule for judge exam trigger concern. So recently there is a judgment by the Supreme Court. Like those who are going to appear for the lower judiciary, they need to have at least 3-year experience. So because of that, there is a there is a you can say the concern among the fresh aspirant, because all of sudden Supreme Court introduced the judgment, but before that so many students are currently preparing for lower judiciary. So they have to, now they are not able to write this examination because they don't have any experience. So they have to go through the 3 year of experience, and after that they will come back and join. So because of that, some people are filing PIL. So this news is all about that. Okay, recently Supreme Court said that to join the district judge you need to have at least 3 year of experience. So court believe that the work of judiciary is can quite complex. So without having practical experience on field level experience, it is not possible to understand the problem. So that is the reason Supreme Court says that whenever you are going to work under your senior lawyer, so you'll learn how the process court is functioning. Okay, so that is what they are saying. So just read it out, you'll understand that. Okay. So next Indian private sector still at developing stage. So this is what said by our Minister Jitendra Singh. So the space sector has opened to the private sector only a few years ago. So its capacity building has started only just now, and we need to have a robust and developed private sector, said Jitendra Singh. So recently we are seeing that the space sector is open to the private sector under the Atmanirbhar Bharat after the COVID-19. So Indian private sector is still developing stage and will need some time to acquire the equipment to make space vehicle or biotechnology startup grow larger enough to invite interest from the public market. Okay, so we need a robust developed private sector. Definitely we need private sector, because you can see USA, like currently SpaceX they are doing. So we need to have that kind of big private sector, but they need to be mature enough to absorb and launch all these things. So space sector has opened to the private sector only 4 5 years ago, and so their capability has started only just now. So despite government multiple claim of championing the private sector participation in the space sector, no private sector company is selected in the small satellite launch vehicle. So recently, ISRO conduct a bid for transfer of small satellite launch vehicle to the private sector. But ultimately it is awarded to the HAL, Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. So it is a PSU under the government of India. So last week, the public sector defense company Hindustan Aeronautic Limited backed the transfer of technology deal for 511 crore from the ISRO to build the operate the small satellite launch vehicle. Okay, so this small satellite launch vehicle is designed developed by ISRO. So it want to transfer this technology to the private sector or any partner that can manufacture. So many companies they bid for that, but only the you can say HAL win the bid. So SSLV is a three-stage. So you need to note them down so they can ask in UPSC also. So SSLV is a three-stage vehicle to launch satellite weight less than 50 kg into lower earth orbit. Apart from that, HAL also has applied in independently two other technical qualification bidding were shortlisted. Okay? So you can say sign of success. So Department of Biotechnology, which oversee the BIRAC. What is BIRAC? Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. So you can say BIRAC is a collaboration between government and industry. Na? So we need to have more government industry collaboration. So one classic example is BIRAC. Na? Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. So program that fund biotechnology startups since 2012. So you can talk about how government is collaborating for funding and development of the startup. Okay. So startup listing in public market with sign of success. It is also important to consider the market equity. So you can just pick some point that is going to helpful for supporting writing very good answer. Okay. So you can talk about here, private sector currently participating, though the award is given contract for, manufacturing for this award goes to the HAL. But gradually we can expect, let's say 5 year, 10 year down the line, our private sector will participate in the defense and aerospace manufacturing. So that is going to bring innovation. So that will reduce the government investment or expenditure in the R&D. So when private sector take off all these projects, that is also going to earn a lot of export money from for India also. Okay. So next is the our national security advisor Ajit Dovalji began China visit to meet Rajna to arrive later. So we know that. So recently there is a meeting going to held on the backdrop of SEO. Okay, so you have to study about SEO. So when SEO is formed, what are the objective of SEO? Who are the member of SEO? And tell me in the comment box which Central Asian country is not part of the SEO. And what is the meaning of RAT? What is the meaning of RAT? RAT. And what is the headquarter of that RATs? Okay. And where is the headquarter of SEO is located? So you have to study all these things. Okay. So India and China set for their intense week of engagement since military standoff line of actual control, and there is a standoff happen between India and Pakistan and Operation Sindoor. So we know that the China is supporting behind the cotton to Pakistan. So the visit will coincide with the arrival of first batch of pilgrimage from India to Tibet, who will reach Mount Kailash and Manosarovar Lake on Thursday. First time in 6 years, the resumption of the Kailash Manosarovar Yatra is expected to follow off by the resumption of direct flight between two countries. So after the Galwan Valley, all this stand up. So we have stopped all these things. Now we are recently opening the trade, and we are also opening the route for traveling to the Kailash Manosarovar Yatra. So that is a sign of revival of our relationship. So NSA, our NSA Ajit Dobalji emphasized the need to counter terrorism all its form and manifesto to maintain overall peace and stability in the region. Because China, you can say tacitly support Pakistan based terrorism. Pakistan always want, always there should be in some sort of disturbances that should be in India, so that instead of India will not develop, that is a counter force or balancing force to the China, so that it cannot be in equal level. That is the reason always China want to live in the Pakistan. So Dobal invited Mr. Wang to Delhi to discuss the resolution of the border dispute as part of the special representative. Both are the special representative to discuss border issue, how they are going to solve our border dispute peacefully. Okay, so meeting of the senior security and defense Minister of Asian country will take place in, just read them out. So that is going to be very important, and you'll have to study about at which location that SEO summit is going to be held. Okay, so these are your homework you have to study, so they can ask in your examination. Okay. So here it is talking about over 20 terror targets were identified, 9 attack under the Operation Sindhu. So we use our intelligence to identify the terror targets, like where terror infrastructure are there and where the terror are hiding. So we are identify them. But out of that 20, we only attack the 9. We are carefully identifying the locations where we should attack so that minimum damage to the normal people, minimum damage to the military. And after we identify 9 locations, we have given free hand to our armed forces to deal with the terrorism as for their a free hand, you can say free hand. The need you have to operate that. And you know that once we are going to conduct a military strike within the Pakistan territory to strike all this military camp, we can expect some you can say the retaliation from the Pakistan, and India is prepared for that. That is the reason our Operation Sindhu is quite successful. We have blocked all the attack from the Pakistan side. Okay. So this is just a Operation Sindoor, meet all objective, instill fear in the terrorists. This is what said by our defense minister. Okay. So next is our Japan will win the war against Naxalism. This is what said by our Home Ministry, because Home Ministry set a target to make India, you can say left wing extremism free by you can say 1st March 2026. So Home Ministry and Cooperative Ministry Amit Shah on Monday held in interaction with the security personnel. Okay, so in Chhattisgarh. So here it is given Naxal had led to the death of around 40,000 people in last 35 years. Just you can see what kind of obstacle the Naxal are acting in our development. So the slavery for decades. So Naxal violence deprived the poor tribal population of basic necessities such as food, electricity, education, housing, toilets. So they are not Messiah of the poor people, as they called. Left wing extremism, they call themselves as a Messiah, or they they want development. No, they are acting hurdle in the process of development. You can see clearly seen here. So entire region were forced to live in condition equivalent to slavery, and root cause of them is Naxalism. So Chhattisgarh government ensuring delivery of the food, healthcare, education, electricity. Okay, so to tackle the Naxalism, so what you need is two-pronged approach. First one is developmental approach. Second one is psychological operation. Then military operation. So that is what doing. And government is also launching rehabilitation camp. In this rehabilitation camp, what they will do, those who want to leave the path of violence and they want to join the mainstream society, they should welcome. And and that can be easy way to tackle the problem of Naxalism. So in 1985, Kanishka bombing is reminder of zero tolerance to terrorism. So the 40th anniversary of bombing of Air India Kanishka aircraft. See a moment to reiterate that we have zero tolerance to the terrorism. So this is a aircraft that is being bombed. Okay, bombed by the terrorism. Okay, just a second. So in this bombing, India has been victim of terrorism for decades. So you can see in that bombing, so 329 people have been died. Okay, so paying tribute to the victim of bombing who come from India and Canada and Ireland and other countries. So India is suffering the you can say the from the act of terrorism for a long time. This bombing is carried out by the Khalistani based terrorist. Okay, so that is the reason India is quite concerned. So next is Iran launch missile at the USA base in Qatar and Iraq. So we have already discussed that. So if the war can go out of control, it's very dangerous for India, because just you can see here. I'm just showing you a map of. You can see here. It is Iran. So the USA base is located in the neighbor of Iran. So in case of any attack on Iran by the USA, so Iran will retaliate with all the bases that is located near to it. So there might be counter attack, so which is very dangerous. trend. Okay, so there might entire Gulf war. So and more than 1 crore people from Indian origin residing there. So in case of full blown Gulf war, we need to evacuate them, and it is going to create a big crisis for India as well. Okay, so next we'll see about the rising evaporative demand, spotlight India data and research gap. So what do you mean by evaporative demand? So air itself became more thirsty due to global warming. Quenching this thirsty has means more water is coming of the land, including from the plant and tree, leaving them drier. So with more evaporative demand, so there is a high chances of there is a dry condition or drought condition. So evaporative demand is measure of how thirsty the atmosphere is. So coined the term the thirsty wave to denote three or more continuous day of intense evaporative demand, which they continuously found increasing over the years. So you can note them down. So what do you mean by thirsty wave? Okay, what do you mean by thirsty wave? So you have to remember that. So and you need to remember this 3 to 4 days of contiguous, okay, continuous dry season. Not only have the thirsty wave increase in the severity, but also likelihood of the no thirst wave occurring during the growing season had significantly decreased. So that means with climate change, this wave is going to intensify. So that is our agricultural pattern. So this is all about the article. Just study them. Okay. Next, the Pakistan role in the USA West Asia calculus. It's a very complex relations. If you look into that, so Pakistan has a complex relationship with Iran. Two countries competing influence in the Afghanistan. Both Iran and Pakistan, they are competing influence in the Afghanistan. Try to have sphere of influence, and Iran depends on the food import, which make trade route via land important. So Pakistan can play the role for the USA, isolating Iran in case of conflict with Israel. So USA use Pakistan as a base to supply military and station their soldier to attack the Iran. Okay, so we can say on the one hand they are having trade relations and Muslim countries. So because of that, the Pakistan support the Iran. On the other hand, also act as a base for attacking the Iran. So you can see here the USA President Donald Trump announced that USA had conducted military strike against the Iranian nuclear installation. This is event and outcome which could change the shape of the West Asia for decades to come. Okay, so we have seen as the USA strike have preceded by the Pakistan chief of the army staff, the Munir, the visited the president. So we have seen there is a good relationship among the Pakistan military chief and the Donald Trump also. So why US interest? So because currently we are seeing the USA is tilting towards the Pakistan and shown interest. We can clearly see that the Pakistan was praised in the Senate hearing by the General Michael. So and Kurila, who headed the USA Central Command, he praised the Pakistan as a value as a partner in countering terrorism and mentioned its role in arrest and extradition of the Muhammad Sarifullah. Okay? So why there is a sudden change in the stand? Because at this moment USA need the help of Pakistan to station their soldier to supply the military hardware to attack to counter the Iran. So this was a curious statement considering that Pakistan combined 2 decade long US effort to destabilize Afghanistan despite receiving 20 billions of USA assistance. On the one hand, it is receiving assistance from the USA. On the other hand, it is destabilizing the Afghanistan. So where USA is fighting against the Taliban. That means double standard. आपने जिससे पैसा लेते हो उसका ही पैर को काट देते हो. ठीक है. So West Asia far important than South. For USA, West Asia is more important than the South Asia. Though America no longer depends on the oil import from the Gulf, but it has economic stake there. During the recent visit to the region, Trump extracted 3 trillions worth of commitment in investment. This Gulf country, they are investing heavily in the US market. That is the reason the West Asia is more important for USA than the South Asia. So Pakistan-Iran relationship, we have already discussed. Pakistan has a complex relationship with the Iran. Two countries compete for influence in Afghanistan. Pakistan take pride for being only Muslim majority state possesses nuclear weapons, and it does not idea of losing their status. So there have also been attack on the Iranian security personnel by the group based in those who are Pakistan. So there is a border terrorist in Pakistan. They also attack the Iran. To counter that, in I think previous year, Iran also fired the missile to kill all this the terrorist. Pakistan can play role of if there is a conflict, so Pakistan can play the role of, you can say, the isolating Iran in case of conflict with Israel. So Iran depends on import for most of the food requirement. Therefore, trade route via land important in case of conflict. Okay. So I think not much important. Just read them. So I have already told you the crux of that. Okay. Just it is actually, it is just a just a discussion of something. If you read, you will get a better idea about the Pakistan Iran issue. Okay. So next is first estimate of public spending in Olympic Paris Olympic 2024. So it is around 6.8 billion French. Okay, that is invested. So if India is going to ever host the Olympic, so we need to know about the amount of money that we need to invest. So and next is Gaza to Iran, Israel illegal war grow with USA support. So we recently see that after there is a hostage crisis, so Israel attack all Gaza. They killed so many people, and they have done all these things because of the support from the USA. So with that now Israel is also attacking Iran, even Lebanon. So that is also causing havoc. So because of that, so many people are dying. So this article is talking about that. So these things are possible because of USA constant support. Okay. So here it is given how many people are died. So not much important for it, but for your understanding, this is more than enough. So inflation fall, but no unemployment. They go. So India, the government of India and RBI set a targets of targeting inflation 4%, 4 plus minus 2%. That means we have to keep our inflation 2 to 6% band. Okay, this is what called inflation targeting. Okay, but recently it is seen that our inflation is under control, but the unemployment is not under control, but government is not published that. That is what this article is talking about. So we need to in not only control the inflation but also provide the employment to our peoples. And it is also talking about there is a less, like, how monetary policy means any policy that is making by the RBI to control the interest rate. So it is talking about how RBI is controlling interest rate, and it is seen that monetary policy is not able to control the price or inflation in the market. Rather, it is the other factor that is controlling the inflation in the market. So it is study have been shown that here it is given. So here it is given ineffective of the monetary policy for inflation management in our article Inflation in India Dynamics and Disruption Impacting the Policy Implications. We demonstrate that there is no conclusive evidence role of interest rate in controlling inflation. So in India generally, if RBI start increasing or decreasing the inflation interest rate, so it is going to have impact after 6 months to 9 months. So if now you are reducing, let's say, the interest rate by 0.5%, so that is going to reflect in market after 6 to 9 months. But the inflation in India is driven by overwhelming role of what? Like, one second. So overwhelming role of the agricultural good driven by relative prices of growth of agricultural non-agricultural sector. So that is going to decide the inflation price. Okay. So first, so this is all about this article. Okay, just read it out, you'll understand. So next is a Silicon Valley dream for Amravati. So recently the you can say the CM Chandrababu Naidu, they want to develop Andhra Pradesh as a quantum valley, quantum technology. So they want to establish some quantum computer. So they can ask about question about quantum valley, which state or which capital is called quantum valley. So you have to study that. So they can a very good question. You have to answer that. So just read them. So quantum valley of Andhra Pradesh, Quantum Valley, just sits on the name of Silicon Valley. So many images. So it is talking about, recently there is a controversy in Kerala regarding use of Bharat Mata image. So some people depict that this use of Bharat Mata, that promote this saffron culture, use of particular ideology of Greater India goes against the secular ethos. Okay, so this article is talking about Mother India motif trace to its, if you look into the Mother India motifs, trace its origin 19th century on work of Anand Math by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, which personify country as a oppressed Hindu goddess with glorious past aspiring to regain her enormous might. So it featured the Bande Mataram, which beautiful song. So it's quite popular. But in 20th century, so Arvind Rabindranath Tagore depict Bharat Mata as a four-armed goddess holding the piece of white clothes. Okay, so you can see about the Anand Mat is being criticized for communal overturn. Okay, but Hindu religious, but Rabindranath Tagore images seen as a humanization of divine mothers. Okay, so because of these images may depict or promote any particular religious, so people in Kerala they oppose, and India being a secular state, they are demanding, that is the Kerala minister, they are demanding, India being a secular state, so government should avoid anything that is not being yet accepted or consensus among the people for promoting any such images. Okay, so that is the all controversy is all about, because being a secular state, we cannot promote any particular religion as a sign of state. So when there is a consensus, no doubt we need to promote Indian culture. At the same time, we need to be very sensitive in order to promote any particular religion. We cannot promote any majoritarian religion or minoritarian religion in our state functions. Okay, so that is what the concern or the article is written about. So next is, sorry, state of South Asian economy integration. So if you look into the Asia, you can look into the SAARC country. Our inter-trade, trade among this country are very less as compared to European Union, ASEAN. So it is here it is given. South Asian region is one of the least economically integrated region in the world. Yes. So basically, our trade is barely 5 to 7% of international trade. While if you look into European Union, it is 45%, 22% in case of ASEAN, 25% in case of NAFTA. So it is your homework study about which country are part of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which country are part of ASEAN, and which country are how many country are part of the European Union. Okay. Okay, I think this is all about this article. Just read it out, you'll understand. Okay. And this article is also talking about I'm just giving a brief about this article. So recently there is Israel started attacking Iran, so to damage all their nuclear weapon, but Israel is not having the bunker buster, so they need USA help. So USA comes to help the rescue, so they poured a lot of bunker buster bomb and to damage all this nuclear site. But Iran has developed deep underground facility, so they cannot easily destroy by all this bunker buster, because they have used reinforced cement concrete, so to protect them from the airstrike. So this article is talking about, though we are conducting strike, so it is very difficult to eliminate or remove all this nuclear weapon from the Iran. So there might be possibility that after survival of this attack, so Iran might pursue more nuclear weapon, which is very harmful for the world as a whole. Okay, so dear student, this is all about the today's newspaper analysis. So I'm not able to prepare for last few days. I'm really sorry for that, but we'll continue that. Okay, we'll try to make this video in morning. Okay, chaliye, bye bye, good night, take care. Tomorrow again we'll prepare the same video. Chaliye, bye.